here's the ultimate tabs component. I'll show you how to bring this into your project. We can use this with autoplay turned on or autoplay turned off. Whenever we hover in, it pauses, and if the user were to tab into this content, it'll pause as well. If we scroll out of view, it'll pause so the page height isn't changing while the tabs component isn't in view, and when we scroll back in, it resumes. If a user has something like prefers reduce motion turned on, it pauses, and if they turn it off, it will resume. And we can also anchor link to specific tabs from a different page. So here on the home page, I have this button set to go to the About page, to the Services tab component, and with the Marketing tab pre-opened. So it'll scroll me down to that section. And on mobile, it's actually just going to keep us in sync with the active tab link. So as it's switching, it'll just scroll that tab link into view. We can also free scroll and just click to go to a specific tab link like so. So what we can do is I'll go ahead and open this tabs component here. There's a couple controls we have. We can turn the arrows, those bottom arrows, on or off. And by default, it's set to not loop the controls, meaning that they'll be grayed out when we reach the ends here. So I can't click any more than that last one here. And if we want the controls to be able to loop indefinitely, we would just turn loop controls on. And that way it doesn't gray out those controls towards the start or end. Now, what we can also do is we can remove the autoplay duration. And when we do that, it'll actually just make the tab component be a standard one. So it's not going to actually autoplay. If we set it to something like 6 seconds, then it'll wait 6 seconds and switch to the next one. We can also set the transition duration. This is set to 0.6, but I could make that faster. And then it's set to slide tabs here, so they slide from side to side. But if I turn that off, it'll just do a simple crossfade between the slides like this. And so we can have that set there as well. We can also give this component an ID. This part is totally optional, but it helps with that anchor linking that I've showed earlier. But I'll just go ahead and call this my services component. And then we can optionally give each tab item an ID as well. This is a data attribute, so it's not the actual item ID. Either way though, so I can call this something like my content. And since this is the CMS though, I'm just going to connect it to the collection item slug. And so that helps with the anchor linking. So if I head over to the home page, for instance, and I click on this button, I have it set to go to /about. So it's going to the About page. Then I have item ID equals services, which is the name of the tab component, and marketing, which is the name of the specific tab item. So it'll go to that services page and open the marketing tab, or to the About page services tab component, and open the marketing tab. So now that we have that set, we can also go ahead and preview content. So if I turn this on, it'll just show all the tab content. That way I can edit it here freely. And if we forget to turn it off, it's totally fine, because as soon as we enter preview or the publish site, it's only going to show that first item by default. So we don't have to worry about that. What we can do is let's actually build it out. So I'll drop the link to this project in the description below. And what you can do is drop in a tab component. And then inside this first slot for tab link, you can drop in a couple tab links. And I'll just duplicate these a few times. And then you can paste in any kind of content that you would like inside of the actual content element. In this case, I'll just go ahead and grab this basic grid here. And you could have a div or any kind of content, but I'll just paste that into the tab content like so. And I'll go ahead and have 4 of them, 1 for each. I'll go ahead and preview the content. That way I can just change this out to tab content 2, tab content 3, and tab content 4. So now that I have that set, I'll select the entire tabs component. We'll head to our new project and just paste that component in. Now, when we do that, it does unlink everything. So we'll want to select the tab wrap and turn that into a tab component and create. And then we'll want to make sure that this list is actually a slot, so we can add however many ones we want. And if we take a look at the actual original tab component, we'll notice that this list element had a role tab list attribute. So what I can do is just give the slot a role and then tab list. Webflow removes that attribute whenever we paste it into our project. So we can go ahead and just copy this class, put that on this slot here. And then what we'll want to do is grab this tab item, and we'll go ahead and turn that into a tab link component. And we want to connect the text of that tab link up to a prop. And we'll also want to connect the tab item ID up to a prop. And that way we can control that text and item ID freely. And then I'll just delete the original list. And we'll add in one more slot for the tab content list. And this one doesn't need any kind of attribute. And that can just hold all of our different content there. Now for the actual slot, I like to name it based off the component I want the client to drop in. So we'll just double click on this and give it a label of tab link. And we'll give this tab content. And that way, for this, they can really drop in any content they want. But for the link specifically, we would just drop in a tab link component and just duplicate that a few times for however many we plan to have. And then we can add our content in there like so. Now, something else we'll want to do is let's look at using this with the CMS. So one way I could do this is I could just create a collection. So let me go ahead and create one, and I'll go ahead and connect that to the services collection. And inside of this, let's go ahead and drop in a tab link. And let's connect that tab link to our service, our heading, I guess. And we'll connect it to the slug here as well. And so what we can do is we can turn this whole collection into a component. I can call it something like service tab link and put that in kind of a CMS group. And now I can drop this whole collection wrapper into this tab link here. And that way we have it all connected to the CMS. Or if you would prefer, if you have the slot drop app, you can actually just drop a collection list into the tab slot there, and then connect that to the services. And then inside the collection item, just drop in a tab link. And then that way we can connect this all back up like so. And then from there, we just want to put another collection inside of our tab content. So I'll drop one in there. I'll connect it over to services, and I'll just go ahead and put this grid or any kind of element into this item. And then I'll go ahead and just start connecting the content here like so. Let's change some of that out. And once we have that fully connected, then we should be good to go. So now we have it fully connected there. One thing that we do want to check is, one last thing I wanted to call out is if we head over to our publish site and inspect, we'll notice that each panel here is getting a some attribute set. So it's getting an ARIA label by, and it's generating this unique sort of label called, it's referencing the tab button that's within a services tab component that is the marketing tab. That one there. So if you don't give the component a unique name and you don't give the item a unique name, then it's just going to look to the index. So it might say this is the third tab component on the page, and this is the fourth tab item within that component. So it'll just use unique indexing to make sure each of them have a label, but they do need that unique label for accessibility. So it'll use numbers if you don't provide the unique names for each tab component and tab link. But we'll notice here, even on the button element, it has ARIA controls, and it points to the unique name of the panel that it's controlling. So all that's automatically generated for us, so we don't have to manage all of these unique attributes on our different elements. But that's how to use the tabs components, and I hope it helps you out in your Webflow projects.